A guy that has shown that the last 2 years is Garrett Wilson, somebody that has had no help at the quarterback position. Quarterback play has not been fine, and he's been good. Now, the number one thing at hand here,
in fairness to Garrett Wilson, like one of his quarterbacks was comeback player of the year last year, Joe Flacco. I mean, at one point, like 2 years ago,
how'd Flacco play with
breakout game?
Yeah, I mean, you remember that, Connor. Just remember that. I mean, and then
breakout game.
And then obviously Flacco goes to Cleveland. He wins the comeback player of the year last year. A lot of people,
nobody saw that
coming. Not everyone saw it coming. Some
you
people had a lot of money on other people, but just
you
missed this. You talk about Connor. You mentioned that Garrett Wilson produced with bad quarterbacks, which he did with whatever Zach Wilson.
One was good,
Mike White, but Flacco, last year's comeback player of the year. Yeah.
You missed this yesterday, Connor, where Matthew brought up Joe Flacco comeback player of the year, I think for the first time ever. I think I'm going to go all in
on the show.
I'm going to go all in on just the Deshaun Watson comeback player of the year. Screw it. Let's burn it all down, baby. Let's burn it all down. I don't care anymore. This award is completely meaningless. Let's just go with Deshaun.
I follow a lot of your wagers, Jay. I don't know if I'll be tailing that one.
I just want to say this. I just want to say I don't want to say how much money Jay lost on Damar Hamlin not winning comeback player of the year, but suffice it to say that had Damar Hamlin won comeback player of the year, Jay would have quit this show and been on an island. So I'm just saying to you that, the fact of the matter that Jay is stuck here with us and he's having to slog through Bet the Edge with Drew Dinsick every day. Like, just like, that's the grind. He's having to work his way out of the debt from Joe Flacco becoming comeback player of the year.
Yeah, if the guy that had died won comeback player of the year, I'd be wearing hats, be wearing a lot more hats, be closing houses, be doing all the things that you guys are doing. But getting back to Garrett Wilson,
yes,
I think.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's the subject.
That's the topic.
I think back, Connor, to 2 years ago, and this is what is my overriding thought with the Jets going to this season is just how exceedingly competent the offense looked with Mike White. Just now when the offense was running on time, the connection that White had with Garrett Wilson. And this is Mike White. This isn't even like Jacoby Brissett or something. This is Mike White. I think just the ability, if Rodgers can just play 17 games, then Garrett Wilson, in terms of his ceiling, I'm not sure what his ceiling is, but I mean, he could absolutely be a top 5 wide receiver. Do you think, Connor, though, that they're going to throw the ball enough for Garrett Wilson to potentially be a top 2-3 wide receiver?
I think they're going to throw the ball enough to him. That's the key, is that everything is just so funneled in this offense to him. Yes, they got Mike Williams. He just got activated off the PUP list. When you look at the history of wide receivers coming off an ACL like that, I don't think Mike Williams is going to be full throttle until October. And even then, this is Garrett Wilson's offense, right? It's Tyler Conklin. Breece Hall will get his targets. But I just think that the number one thing here, guys, and Matthew, I want to toss this point to you, is that Garrett Wilson, what's been holding him back in fantasy is the lack of touchdowns. The fact that he has 7 career touchdowns. He has 4 or fewer in both seasons. The yardage, the targets, the receptions, none of that has been a problem. And it's not going to be a problem with Aaron Rodgers or Tyrod Taylor, who's a better fallback option than what they've had. But I think the most important thing here, Matthew, and why I trust Garrett Wilson a lot in fantasy this year is that the touchdown equity, it almost feels like the floor touchdowns for him is 6 or 7 this year rather than 3 or 4, and can easily have a double-digit season for the first time in his career.
Yeah, nowhere to go but up with it, which the touchdown equity. Because here's the thing. This is a guy that got 50% of the Jets' end zone targets last year. That was the 3rd highest rate in the NFL. They weren't connecting, right? I mean, again, because the quarterback play was so awful and just they got in close and they're like, all right, we're going to double and triple team this guy. But now you've got real red zone threats in Mike Williams, in Tyler Conklin. I'm sure there's going to be like a package for Malachi Corley. Breece Hall, obviously fully healthy. He's a threat. So I think that they will design more plays for Garrett Wilson. And here's the other thing. I don't have a stat for this, but one of the things I think that is missing, and I talk about this all the time, but one of the things that I think is missing in fantasy football analysis is that these are people. The NFL is played by human beings, and human beings have emotions, right? They have emotions, good emotions, and they have bad emotions. They have petty, they have jealousy, they have, ego. And so I am just telling you that Aaron Rodgers, now in New York, after a year where he had to sit on the sidelines with the Achilles and everything like that, What does Aaron Rodgers, and everyone's just like, he's 40. He just needs to hand off. He just needs to be competent, that kind of stuff. Aaron Rodgers has heard all this talk. No one pays attention to the media like Aaron Rodgers. And so Aaron Rodgers, I think, is going to want to have a very good statistical year. So what happens when you get the 5-yard line? Is he handing off to Breece Hall? No. I think he's checking out of that. He's going to say, hey, Garrett Wilson, you're just going to do a little slant inside. Boom. Just cheap touchdown after cheap touchdown. We saw that all the time in Green Bay with him and Devontae Adams. Again, like good plays as well, but I just feel like
just quick game stuff.
Just quick game stuff, like just turnarounds, like fades as well. Like I just think that Aaron Rodgers is going to want to make Garrett Wilson a thing because that's going to be good for Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be good for the Jets, obviously, but it's also going to be good for Aaron Rodgers. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know what the odds are, Jay, of Garrett Wilson only having 4 touchdowns again for a 3rd straight season, but I'll take whatever those odds are and give me the over.
Yep, no, absolutely. I think that just by necessity and the fact that if he just stays healthy and the distance between him and the next best wide receiver on the team, like that's what you want with upside with your wide receivers. It's the same reason why Amon-Ra St. Brown is so compelling, just the gap between him and Jameson Williams. So it's going to be Garrett Wilson. And we've seen that his ability to produce with no quarterback, approaching competence. And now that Rodgers, for whatever he looks like off the Achilles, we can be very confident that he's going to be the best quarterback by far that Garrett Wilson has played with in the NFL.
And I think you can argue that Tyrod Taylor, if anything were to happen to Rodgers this year, that Tyrod Taylor would also then be the best quarterback that Garrett Wilson's ever played with all due respect to comeback player of the year, Joe Flacco. I just, he's my wide receiver 8 this year. And I think Garrett Wilson is talent. He's got all the things you're looking for: talent, usage, and a very good quarterback.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.